I never thought one day I'd come home and find hundreds of strangers partying on my land. But life has a strange way of teaching you who people truly are, especially when you're dealing with a woman like Karen. It started on a Friday afternoon. I'd been working a double shift all week, barely getting sleep, just trying to get ahead on mortgage payments. My land, 5 acres of peace just outside the city, was the only thing keeping me sane. No neighbors within yelling distance, just the wind, the trees, and the sound of birds in the morning. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine, and I earned it. So imagine my confusion when I turned down my long gravel driveway that day, expecting silence, only to see balloons, pink and gold ones, dozens of them. Cars lined up on both sides of the grass, loud music thumping. I slowed down, blinked twice, thinking maybe I was hallucinating. But no, the closer I got, the more real and ridiculous it became. There were people in formal wear, a white tent that stretched wider than my barn, waiters in tuxedos carrying trays, and a massive wedding arch. Right at the base of the hill, where I usually sit with my coffee, I stopped the truck at first. I thought it must be some kind of movie shoot, a mistake, a one-off event that accidentally ended up here. But then I saw her Karen middle-aged, platinum blonde, draped in purple silk like she was royalty, holding a clipboard, pointing around like she owned the place. And when she turned and locked eyes with me, there wasn't even a hint of surprise, just annoyance. I got out of the truck, heart pounding. "What is this?" I asked, voice calm but sharp. Karen didn't miss a beat. "Oh, you're early. The wedding doesn't start for another 2 hours?" I blinked. "Wedding?" She gestured grandly. "My daughter's big day. Isn't it beautiful?" "No. What's not beautiful is that this is my property." She laughed like I'd made a joke. No, this is the old Miller plot, right? It's community shared land. I spoke to the HOA months ago. I felt a cold chill run through me. "Karen, I own this land, paid for every square inch myself. There's no shared anything." Her eyes narrowed like a switch flipped. "Well, that's not what we were told, and it's a little late to complain now, don't you think?" Then she walked away from me. Walked away like I was the intruder. Next few minutes were a blur. I stormed around, demanding to know who gave her permission. Some folks shrugged, others avoided eye contact. Nobody cared. They were too busy sipping champagne and taking selfies. I dialed the sheriff's office. Straight to voicemail. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry, but I did neither. I just stood there, watching 210 strangers trample the land I worked for. They parked over my septic system, dragged chairs across my grass. Caterers were unloading trays of food into my garage, my actual garages, if it were a storage room. And all the while, Karen smiled like she was queen of the hill. I found a chair and sat under the oak tree. I didn't stop the wedding. I didn't shout. I didn't make a scene, because I knew something Karen didn't. I had security cameras, high resolution, full audio, every conversation, every delivery, every moment recorded, and I had property. Deeds, signed, dated, sealed by the county. So I sat there quietly, because if Karen wanted war, she had just declared it on the wrong man, and I don't lose wars. The wedding went on like a movie scene I never auditioned for. I sat there under that oak tree, watching the chaos unfold, heart thumping in my chest like a war drum. My land, my quiet, personal piece of earth had been transformed into some magazine-style spectacle with string lights, floral walls, and a freaking live band that had no business playing on a cattle ranch. I could see the groom nervously pacing near the altar. The bride, Karen's daughter, posed for photos in front of my old tractor like it was some rustic prop she rented for aesthetic. They even stuck fake flowers in the exhaust pipe. And Karen, she floated around like she was the host of a royal gala, giving orders, laughing like she owned the air. She didn't acknowledge me again, not even once. Not a glance, not a nod. Just dismissed me like I didn't exist on my own property. I watched her speak to the caterers like she paid for. The land under their feet. I saw her hand a few guys in black shirts, some folded cash, probably to keep their mouths shut. I even saw her walk past my no trespassing sign, snatch it out of the dirt, and toss it behind a bush like garbage. She thought I was bluffing. She thought I was weak. But every second she spent smiling. Another piece of evidence was being recorded. Audio, video, license plates, drone shots, everything. I went into my shed, locked it from inside, pulled out my file drawer. Papers, deeds, satellite images with property boundaries. The legal stuff she probably thought I didn't have because of the way I dress, or the fact that I live outside town. People like her think they can step over people like me. And then Nye did the one thing she didn't see coming. I called my cousin, Marcus. Marcus isn't just family. He's a real estate attorney, one of the sharpest in the state. And he doesn't play games when it comes to land rights. I sent him the footage, the photos, the voice clips from my phone. He didn't even let me finish before he said, "Oh, she's screwed." But I wasn't done yet. I took more pictures, snapped a selfie with the wedding in the background, and timestamped it. I recorded audio from Karen bragging about how nobody could stop this wedding now. She literally said that. On tape they had drones, photographers, a DJ who kept shouting, "Thanks to the homeowner for letting us use this beautiful venue." I wanted to walk up and shout, "He's sitting under that tree right now. You didn't even invite him." But I didn't, because I wasn't there for revenge. I was there for justice. And then, just when I thought it couldn't get worse, it rained. Not just rain, a full-on Texas thunderstorm, one of those angry ones that rolls in fast and pounds everything flat. People screamed as the tent ripped in. Half the band scrambled to cover their gear. The flower arrangements flew. Karen shrieked something about her hair and ran inside my workshop to take cover without even asking. And me, I was dry, sitting in my truck, watching it all unfold, windshield wipers swinging back and forth like the countdown to her karma. Lightning flashed, thunder cracked, and somewhere between the panic and the puddles, the police finally pulled up. Karen ran out to them, soaking wet, and pointing at me, "He's trying to ruin my daughter's wedding." The officer looked over, confused. "Who?" She pointed again. "That man. He's stalking us. He's been taking pictures all night." I stepped out slowly, calmly, with a folder in one hand and my phone in the other. "Officer," I said, "I live here. This is my land." He blinked, looked at Karen. "This your house?" he asked her. Karen hesitated. "It's community-managed property." "No, it's not," I interrupted. "It's mine. I've got the deeds, the footage, the title, and a lawyer on the phone." The officer stepped back. Karen's face went pale. For the first time that day, she looked nervous, really nervous. It had finally hit her. She wasn't the host, she was the trespasser, and the wedding she had so arrogantly built. It was about to cost her more than just her reputation. It was going to cost her everything. The officer stood between us, rain soaking through his uniform, trying to figure out what kind of nightmare he just walked into. One moment, he's answering a noise complaint. The next, he's caught in the middle of a luxury wedding on stolen land. Karen's mouth kept moving, but her voice was barely audible over the thunder. I could still see the desperation in her eyes. Her mascara ran in thin black lines down her cheeks. Her fake smile was gone. Her royal purple gown now clung to her like a wet towel. "You have no idea who I am," she hissed. "I know exactly who you are," I replied. "You're the woman who's going to pay for this mess." The officer finally took my paperwork, hands flipping through pages as I explained the boundary markers, the security footage, the multiple no trespassing signs. He didn't say much, just nodded. "A lot. I have a legal right to ask every person here to leave," I said. "But I didn't want to ruin someone's wedding." Karen scoffed. "You already have." "No," I said, staring her dead in the eyes. "You did that." He radioed dispatch. I overheard fragments, something about trespassing on private land, code violations, unauthorized event assembly, and noise ordinance infractions. The word permit came up a few times. By none found, Karen started pacing like a caged animal. Her daughter came running over, soaked, makeup ruined, screaming. "What is going on?" Karen turned and actually tried to lie again. "It's a misunderstanding. The HOA said we had permission. He's just trying to ruin your day." The bride looked at me. I didn't say a word, just held up my phone and hit play. Karen's voice came through the speaker, loud and clear. "Nobody can stop this wedding now, not even the owner. He doesn't live here anyway." The bride's face collapsed. "You said this was all cleared?" "We spent $30,000, Karen." Grabbed her by the arm, trying to hush her, but it was too late. Everyone was watching. The guests had gathered in clusters, umbrellas out, phones in hand. Whispers spread like wildfire. That's not even her land. She didn't have permission. I parked on someone's private property. The DJ shut the music off. The bartender packed up the bar. Even the cake was getting boxed away. And Karen, she finally lost the one thing she had left control. She marched up to me, rain dripping from her forehead, fists clenched. "You're doing this to humiliate me?" "No," I said coldly. "I'm doing this because you thought you were above consequences. I'm the HOA president, and that means nothing out here." She opened her mouth again, but then another police unit pulled in, a woman this time. To Karen, "You need to gather your guests and leave immediately. We'll sort out the details at the station." Karen's face twisted. "You can't do this." "Ma'am," the officer said, "you committed trespassing, unlawful use of private land, and hosted an event without a single permit. You're lucky if this ends with just a fine." I could see it in her face, the cracks forming, reality sinking in. Her perfect day had just turned into a lawsuit with a side of public embarrassment. And all of it, every inch of this disaster, was her own doing. Karen stomped off to scream at the wedding planner, who looked 2 seconds away from quitting on the spot, dresses dragging in the mud, cars stuck in the grass. And I stood there, silent, watching karma unfold in real time. But even then, I knew this wasn't over. Karen wasn't the kind of person to walk away quietly. No, she'd fight, scream, twist the story. She'd lie, blame, threaten. And that's exactly what she did the very next day. I found a letter taped to my door, a formal complaint from the HOA, accusing me of harassment. The letter was printed on thick, glossy HOA letterhead, like it was, meant to scare me, to the resident at my address. "We have received complaints regarding your aggressive behavior. You are hereby requested to attend a disciplinary hearing." My jaw locked. I reread it twice, just to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. It was signed, of course, by none other than Karen Whitmore, HOA president. She was still trying to rewrite reality, still trying to flip the story, still playing queen in a kingdom that didn't belong to her. But this time, she crossed a line. She couldn't uncross. I didn't call her, didn't argue, didn't respond with anger. I responded with facts. That same day, Mark is my cousin, my attorney, sent a cease and desist letter to the HOA board, complete with all the security footage, photos, police reports, and official property deed. The letter ended with a line that made even me raise an eyebrow. "If my client is not issued a written apology within 7 days, exclusive of court costs and punitive penalties." The entire event on a local community Facebook page, just the facts. No insults, no emotion, just the truth, the photos. The video of Karen laughing in my face, the sheriff escorting guests out, her daughter crying in the mud, her own voice admitting she knew it wasn't her land. It went viral within 24 hours. Over 600 comments, thousands of shares. Local news stations picked it up. A reporter knocked on my door the next day, and guess what? Turns out, Karen had a history 3 years ago. She tried to fine a veteran for flying a flag too high on his own porch. 2 years ago, she got a neighbor evicted over a chicken coop. And last summer, she filed noise complaints against a disabled child who laughed too loudly during the day. This wasn't just a one-time mistake. Karen was a serial abuser of power. And finally, people had had enough. Within a week, the HOA board held an emergency meeting without her. They suspended her presidency, citing misconduct and public liability. 3 days later, they voted her out completely. The apology letter came by email, cold, robotic, forced. But it didn't matter, because what followed was justice. The city fined her for holding an unpermitted mass gathering on private land. $18,000 right out the gate. Another $12,000 for code violations and environmental damage, mud runoff. From all those cars, ruined the nearby stream. The wedding planners sued her for breach of contract. The vendors backed out last minute once they found out it wasn't legal. And her daughter, she moved out of state with her husband. Hasn't spoken to Karen since. But the best part, a civil court judge awarded me $50,000 in damage. The full amount Marcus asked for. I used part of it to reseed the grass and repair my garage. Used the rest to install a brand new gate. I didn't write private property. I wrote, "To all Karens, this is not your kingdom." Like a man sitting under a tree, waiting patiently knowing karma doesn't need help. It just needs time. And for Karen, time ran out.